What's up, comic and pop culture fans? James with Minhunter Comics here. I gave you 20 books that, even though it's a down market, I thought were just way too low. Well, here are some books that are stupidly higher than their prices from 7 years ago, might be particularly hot right now, and maybe I just don't believe in the characters or the book as much as the next person. Take what I have to say here with a grain of salt. This is, after all, my own opinion. I think a lot of people are going to have different opinions, and that's totally fine. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below. I'm going to be giving away another Captain Carrot figurine. All I ask, if you're a winner, make sure you send me a picture of you and the figure. I'm going to make a montage at the end of the year. I'm going to start our list off of most expensive books that I just do not agree with. We got Batman 423. I have never understood this book. Even in 2017, when a CGC 9.8 was $300, I thought that was too much. I used to be able to get this book from time to time. It was never in the dollar bins. It was never $5. But it was, to me, I found it for $20, $30. Mid-shelf, but very attainable. And all of a sudden, in 2024, the 9.8s are $2,300, which amazingly is actually much lower than the COVID prices. Granted, the COVID prices almost don't count at all, but if you look at 2017's $300 and 2024's $2,300, that is a $2,000 jump. That's pretty crazy. And the only thing that's happened in that time is more of these have been obtained. I do think it's too high. Too many of those exists. I just think it's a little bit random, and I think even Todd McFarlane might agree. Next up, we're going to go with the most recent book on my list. This is the 1 in 10 Ramos variant of the first appearance of Silk. Now, Silk may have some legs. I'm sure there's a spider pun in there somewhere. But you know what? To me, I don't think that Silk is a Miles Morales. I don't think that Silk is a Spider-Gwen. I'll tell you what, I would love to be proven wrong. I want to see Silk make its way into some films, maybe the next video game. That would be really cool. But in 2017, we're talking $130, and now we're talking $390. Basically a $400 book, and I recognize that that is down. Let's just ignore COVID prices, okay? Let's just focus on the fact that in 6 years, this is still more than a doubled up book, and that's kind of crazy to me. I know it's a 1 in 10, so it's more rare than the regular cover A, but still, it seems like a really recent book with a ton of them that exist, so it's kind of weird to me that it still does a price like that. This next one could have easily gone for my number one spot, but I'm actually not doing this list in any order. And that is Night Nurse number 1. So CGC 9.8s, not many of them. This thing is actually rare, and I don't love putting rare stuff on this list. But because of this insane price hike that I just have to share with you, I feel like this immediately makes it on this list of that doesn't seem right. 2017, a 9.8, we're talking $2,000 fair market value. In 2024, this is after the comic book boom and in a kind of down market, it has a $30,000 fair market value for a 9.8. Cool character enough for me. I don't think it's to the same leagues as a first appearance of Blade or first Punisher, so I was surprised to see that hit 30K. Doesn't really make sense to me. Next up is going to be Family Guy number 1. Now hear me out. There's not an overwhelming amount of these. There's probably only like 20,000 that exist. However, in 2017, we're talking about an $80, $81 book right now. It's still sitting pretty at $375. That is a nice jump, and it's cool to see a different oddball, rarer book like that get a jump like that. But I think a respectable jump maybe would have been like $150, $200. These high 300s and even a couple that hit over 400 just seem a little crazy to me. It's not overwhelmingly rare. The book's not even 20 years old, too. It just seems a little bit odd to me. Now, there is a bit of a craze of shows and toy-based things that got a resurgence, which you'll actually see another one on this list. Next up, oh, God. Oh, this is going to piss some people off. I am sorry for this. This is just my opinion, but Amazing Spider-Man number 1. If you're going to go for your big boy keys, I have never understood why ASM number 1 would be one of them. I like ASM 4 better. I like certainly AF 15 better, but Amazing Spider-Man number 1 has always had the most insane values, and especially in the last like 6-7 years, it's exploded. A 9.4 was $131,450 in 2017. Well, today, and this is down, mind you, is $264,000. That is a double up price right there for a 9.4, and I don't get it. First of all, I don't know if I'll ever be in the leagues to afford anything like that. But if I had that money to sling around, I'm not sure I would put it on an ASM number 1 9.4. I just wouldn't. If I had $250,000, you best believe that's going to like a higher grade Hulk 1 or a high grade AF 15, something of an extremely high tier that isn't ASM number 1. I'll just never get it. I also think the cover is not that pretty. But regardless, it's not Spider-Man's first appearance. Yes, J. Jonah Jameson, but still not for me. Next, oh man, wow, I'm going to piss a lot of people off. I have 2 Amazing Spider-Mans on this list. 194 for very, very, very different reasons. Now, this one, I'm kind of breaking my rule because I wanted to go with characters I don't really believe in. I love Black Cat. Black Cat is amazing. She could do no wrong. However, it was like $1,040, right, for a 9.8. You know, that was a good price back then. Maybe now you'd say, okay, what are we talking? 12, 13, maybe 1,500? Nah, man. In a down market, that is $2,700 in a CGC 9.8. Come on. This book was right there with the first Taskmaster and all those other ones that came out in 1979 when we had the boom of all the comic book shops. These books were everywhere in comic book shops popping up, so you can actually find these. And because people had comic shops popping up, they wanted to hold on to the books and keep them in good shape, so you can actually find sometimes in the 9s and up to a 9.8 candidates out there. It's not the same as an ASM 129. It's not even the same as like an ASM 149. This is the era of the direct edition, and I do feel like that price should be lower. There are a lot of those things out there. There's a lot of them, man. And it just seems like with how many there are and that particular era, I don't think that it should be to the heights that it is. That is also one of the most submitted books to grading companies across the board. Next up is going to go to SpongeBob Comics number 1. I keep seeing this on my Instagram and Facebook groups and things like that. And, you know, in 2017, it was like a $230 book. That's something already I wouldn't have swung for. Yeah, it's kind of cool, SpongeBob number 1. I was not a SpongeBob guy. I was a Cartoon Network guy. And my wife kind of resents that in me a little bit. But, you know, I appreciate SpongeBob. I just don't think it was Dexter's Laboratory. I don't think it was Courage the Cowardly Dog good. But, you know, regardless, not for me, for someone else. 2024 puts it at $460 for that same slab, man. That is, once again, a double up in those 6 years. That's pretty crazy to me. You got to really be into that stuff, I guess. Next up, we got to go with Wolverine Limited Series number 1. Wow, I woke up and chose violence today. Unpopular opinion here. I love Frank Miller, and I actually even love the quality of that series. I think if it was drawn a little bit differently, with a little more finesse, I would enjoy it more. This is some of people's favorite grail here, so I should watch my mouth. But in 2017, the Newsy was a $270 9.8. In 2024, it's a $1,250 9.8. That's ridiculous. I understand that there's more awareness of that book out there. It is, for what it is, I won't lie, it's a classic cover. I just think it looks a little strange to my eye. I've never liked the artistry in that cover. I think Frank Miller's done amazing things. That's not one of those covers I love. Regardless, it used to be affordable, and it is not anymore. You used to be able to get them, and it's just gone to crazy new heights. And I don't really understand, because it is also one of the most submitted books to any of the grading companies ever. They did print a lot of them, so I don't know on that one. Next up, we're going to go with Iron Man #1. I have anatomy issues with this cover, but regardless, I actually just don't really like most of the Iron Man run. I've tried to go and read it, and I feel like it's one of the weaker titles at the time, so there's just something about it I just don't dig. Ironically, there's a lot of keys later on in the Iron Man run that I think are underpriced and underrated. Like the first Thanos, I actually think is weirdly affordable. But this #1 I've never really understood, and it is actually a book that is still hot. In a down market, yes, it is still hot. It used to be in a 9.4, $2,000 in 2017. That same slab, right, is $4,500 right now. And I actually was a proud owner of a 9.4, but I had it very briefly. I actually traded it in for some other stuff. But we're talking, once again, more than a double up in 6 years' time, and after the boom has come and gone. Another book, though, that a lot of people say is a bit of a grail for them, so hopefully I'm not stepping on too many toes. Again, this is an opinion. These comic books are as high as they are because most opinions are very different than the ones I have for these 10 books. So I understand most people think one way. I just have some weird opinions about these 10. Finally, I'm going to give you Hulk 340. This is a cover, unlike the Wolverine Limited series. I love this cover. I do think this is an instant classic, immediately recognizable cover, absolutely gorgeous. You know, I'm a Todd McFarlane guy too, so of course I'm going to like this. I'm just talking about the direct edition, by the way. But in 2017, this thing was $230, right? It was one that was more expensive, meaning it was over $200, but now it's just stupid. $1,100 is what it's going to cost to get that in your pocket now. Really? That is 4 times the amount of just 6 years ago after the boom has come and gone? That's kind of crazy to me. I recognize that that's a great one, but a lot of people submit that one. There are a healthy amount of 9.8s that exist of that book. You'd think with all that supply and demand that would drive that down. But I do like that it is so popular of a cover that it is actually holding it up. That's pretty cool. I do like to see that. We are in the winter months of a lower market. People are paying bills instead of paying for comics as much. So all these prices that I'm kind of thinking are ridiculous now are probably going to go up in the spring and summer of the coming year and may not even hit these prices again. They might never come this low. So it just goes to show you that this is totally my opinion. I think they're high now. Are they going to come down? Honestly, probably not. They're probably going to go up. But I can't help but think that, man, Batman 423 and SpongeBob 1 and Wolverine Limited Series 1 shouldn't cost what they cost. But that's just me. I'll see you at the next video, and keep on hunting. Make sure to come down to Sentiment Depot Antiques and Collectibles, where I'm set up with all of my comics, located at 238 West Delaware Ave, Pennington, New Jersey. Open every day except for Monday and Tuesday. Enjoy 10% off from Wednesday to Friday. See you there.